92% of leaders believe that they're self-aware, but in reality, only about 10 to 15 actually are. If you're watching this, unfortunately, chances are that you're part of that majority who thinks that they've got it all figured out. But what if I told you that the very behaviors that got you to be the success that you are right now might be creating dangerous blind spots that are holding you and your team back? Hi there, I'm Terry McDougall, an executive coach who spent nearly a decade helping executives and leaders just like you transform their blind spots into breakthrough moments. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share exactly how these hidden barriers are impacting your leadership effectiveness, and more importantly, give you a proven framework to help you identify and overcome them. So whether you're leading a team of 10 or a team of 1,000, stick around, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between staying stuck in patterns that limit your impact or unleashing your full potential as a leader. Now think of these leadership blind spots as the blind spots on your car. They're dangerous areas that you just can't see, no matter how experienced of a driver that you are. In leadership, these are the behavioral patterns and assumptions that are obvious to everyone except you. Now, at the executive level, I've noticed two distinct types of blind spots that consistently derail even the most promising leaders. The first one comes from success itself. When you've climbed the ladder through sheer competence and determination, it's natural to trust your instincts. I mean, that's what got you here, right? But here's the paradox. The same confidence that drove your success can make you resistant to new perspectives. Let me share something I noticed with my client Rebecca, who is a marketing SVP at a Fortune 500 company. Her analytical skills had always been her superpower, but it became her kryptonite when she started dismissing emotional intelligence as just soft skills. Her team was disengaging, but all she could see was her numbers. The second type is rooted in what I call the imposter echo chamber. You've achieved remarkable things, but there's still that nagging little voice questioning whether you really belong at the top. This creates a fascinating contradiction. You start to overcompensate through micromanaging while simultaneously avoiding making those crucial decisions that could possibly expose your perceived inadequacies. Listen, it's natural. We all have our little insecurities. Here's what makes these blind spots particularly dangerous. They don't just affect you. They create a ripple effect throughout your entire organization. There's uncertainty. Your team starts developing protective behaviors. Innovation gets stifled, and gradually your effectiveness as a leader erodes, all while everything looks fine on the surface. Now, I know you might be thinking, Terry, I'm hitting my targets. My team seems fine. Like, what is there to worry about here? Let me share with you some numbers that might change your perspective. According to recent research, organizations on average lose $8.1 million annually due to poor leadership decisions. And here's what's fascinating. 68% of these costly mistakes aren't from lack of skill or knowledge. They're coming from blind spots in decision-making and team dynamics. So let's break this down into real impact. When you're operating with blind spots, three critical areas take a hit. First, there's the obvious business impact. Your team starts operating at, let's say, about 60% of their potential because they're adapting to work around your blind spots rather than working at their best. I saw this with a client who was a brilliant tech executive, but couldn't understand why his open door policy wasn't working until we discovered his habit of subtly dismissing ideas that didn't perfectly match his vision, which initially cost his company, let's just say conservatively, millions in missed innovations until we discovered this and knew what to do about it. Second, there's the personal toll. You're probably working 20% harder than you need to, many hours per week longer than you need to, trying to compensate for problems that you just can't quite see. That extra stress, those sleepless nights, they're not just part of the job. honestly doesn't have to be this hard. They're symptoms of blind spots eating away at your effectiveness. And here's the most expensive cost, and it's one that doesn't show up on any balance sheet. It's your future potential. Every day that you operate without overcoming these blind spots is a day that you're reinforcing patterns that limit you, not just where you are, but where you could be. Now that you understand what's at stake, let me share this simple framework that I've used to help hundreds of executives transform their blind spots into breakthrough moments. I call it the Leadership Vision Framework, and it works in 5 specific steps. Step 1, the reality audit. This isn't your typical self-assessment. I want you to track every decision you make for a week. I know, it sounds like a lot, but track every decision, big or small. And here's the crucial part. For every decision, write down what you expect to happen, then compare it with what actually happens. Then analyze those gaps, as these are your first clue about what those hidden blind spots are. Step 2, create your feedback loop. Most leaders think that they have this covered with their annual reviews or casual check-ins, but here's what actually works very well. Identify 3 trusted colleagues, 1 peer, 1 direct report, and 1 supervisor. Ask them this specific question. What's one thing that you've noticed about my leadership style that I might not be aware of? The key is to listen without defending. You are just collecting data. And then step 3, this is about pattern recognition. This is where transformation begins. Look for themes between your reality audit and your feedback data. Are there situations where your intended impact doesn't match your actual outcome? One of my clients discovered that his motivational speeches were actually creating a lot of anxiety because of his intense delivery style. He had no idea until we connected these dots. Now, step 4 is your strategic adjustment. Now we get practical. We're going to get down to brass tacks here. For each pattern that you've identified, we create what I call a micro shift strategy. These are small, deliberate changes in your approach. Remember our marketing leader, Rebecca? Her micro shift was simple but powerful. Before making any team decision, she added 1 question to her process. What's the human impact here? Now, step 5 is about sustainable implementation. This is where most leadership development fails, and we're going to do it differently. We're going to create what I call trigger moments. These are specific situations that remind you to implement your micro shifts. The key is starting small. You're going to choose 1 blind spot and then 1 micro shift, which is what am I going to do here? And that 1 trigger moment that leads up to that moment. Come up with your plan and focus on mastering it before you move on to the next blind spot. Now, I'm going to give you tools to address your biggest real-world leadership challenge. That is knowing and managing yourself. Because knowing the steps is one thing, but recognizing your tendencies and knowing what you'll do to create the most positive outcomes is where true transformation happens. For your reality audit, I'm going to give you a powerful move that most leaders miss. Use what I call the 2-2-2 method. Document your decisions in 3 time frames. How you feel about them 2 minutes after, 2 hours after, and 2 days after. This reveals patterns that your initial judgment might miss. One of my clients used this and discovered that he was making his best strategic decisions early in the day, but his people decisions were falling apart after 3 p.m. Or what did that tell us? That helped him to understand how to use his day more productively. In the morning, he was clear-headed, and that was the time to focus on making these kinds of decisions. So when it comes to creating your feedback loop, here's the game changer. Don't just ask for feedback. Create safety for honesty. Start with this exact phrase. I'm working on becoming a more effective leader, and I need your help to see what I might be missing. There are no wrong answers here, and I promise to receive whatever you share as a gift. Now, let me share the most common pitfalls I've seen leaders hit when implementing this framework. First, the defensive reflex. When you hear feedback that challenges your self-image, your first instinct is to defend, explain, or justify. Just don't do that. Might be hard, but just don't. Instead, use what I call the thank you pause. Literally, you just say thank you and wait 10 seconds before saying anything else. Second, the all or nothing trap. Leaders often try to tackle every blind spot at once because, come on, you're a high achiever and that's what got you there. But conquering these blind spots is not something that you're going to do all at one time. That's actually a recipe for failing at doing this. Remember, you're looking for progress, not perfection. Focus on one area for at least 30 days before adding another one. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. Third, the false summit. Just when you think you've mastered a blind spot, you'll get tested. This isn't failure. It's your opportunity to recognize your patterns and cement new behaviors until they become second nature. I call these moments growth gates, and they're a sign that you're on the right track. But look, here's the truth about leadership blind spots. We all have them. The difference between good leaders and exceptional ones isn't the absence of blind spots, it's the courage to acknowledge and address them. So you've got two choices right now. You can take what you've learned today, try to implement it on your own, and maybe make some progress, or you can fast track your transformation with expert guidance. One of my favorite sayings is that you can't read the label from inside the bottle. My job as a coach is to hold up a mirror so that you can see those blind spots more easily and work to overcome them. I work with select leaders who are ready to turn those blind spots into breakthrough opportunities. Through my executive coaching program, we'll not only implement the frameworks that I've talked about here, but customize it specifically to your leadership challenges and goals. If you're ready to step into your full potential as a leader, here's what I want you to do right now. Click on the link below to schedule a leadership vision strategy session with me. During this focused conversation, we'll identify your specific leadership blind spots, we'll create a customized breakthrough framework, and map out your 90-day transformation plan. But don't wait too long to make this decision. I only have limited spots on my calendar for these strategy calls. Every day that you operate with unaddressed blind spots is another day of untapped potential for you and your team. This is Terry McDougall, and I'm here to help you turn your leadership blind spots into your greatest opportunities for growth. Click on that link, and let's begin your transformational journey today.